Hey guys, so I'm going to make a quick video tutorial for you to give you some examples of what we're looking for those comparison graphing questions at the end of your biofuels homework if you're having some issues getting started. So these two are actually looking at a similar relationship, the relationship between the number of carbons in the chemical, in the fuel type, and the energy density in BTUs per gallon. So I have a qualitative graph right here. That's an example of how to use a bar graph to show qualitative information, meaning uh, one of them is not numerical, meaning short, medium, long. And then this is actually comparing two quantitative data sets, so uh, quantitative, qualitative. So I'll show you how I did this by making a new sheet. So I'm going to copy and paste that into a new sheet and we'll start over. So, oops. So let's make that readable. Okay. So this is what I started with. I got this right off of that chart. Um, this chart right here that you guys have a link to. So I just pulled, some of the liquids. I didn't do all of them, just ones that were going to be in BTU per gallon because some of those uh, non-liquid fuels are going to be BTU per pound or some other unit. That would just make this a little challenging to answer the question. And what I'm looking for is just a relationship. What can you figure out? So I have the fuels. I pulled the BTU per gallon energy density numbers right off the chart, and I pulled the carbon chains right off the chart. So I made one column. So we'll do the qualitative one first. So we'll call this one qualitative, and this is carbon length, just to make it shorter. All right, so I would call probably these three short. These are subjective, so this is how you decide to categorize it. I would consider these to be pretty long, and this one medium. Now you can call it something entirely different if you want to. You may think that these two count as medium. You may make short, super short, medium, long, long. You may want to make it more categories. You decide how much sense that makes when you do your graph, but this is just one way to do it. So, and then I made another column from my quantitative. That's going to be, I have to come up with a number since some of these are not just 3, 2, or 1. There's a range. I decided to make it average. Okay, I'll even call it average carbon length. So this is how I did this. I just averaged them. So I did average for 12. And then this one, no average necessary. Average 825. Then we have 2. Then we have average 1222. So I'm getting those numbers from here. And then we have 1. So now I have a single number that I can actually compare. Let's make this all match. Okay. So now that we have our data set, we can make tables. So to do the first kind of table, we'll highlight these because we're going to want to know the fuel name and the energy density. Those are common to both tables. And we'll do our qualitative one first. So what I'm doing to select these is I'm holding down the control key and then highlighting the columns. So I can let up on control. You can't see me doing that in the screen capture, but that's what I'm doing. Then I go to insert. Now, this was really cool in 2013. If you don't have 2013, you won't be able to do this, but maybe you will. Recommended charts it'll actually give you a list of different kinds of charts you could do. Now, I liked the one that showed it by category. So I don't want to do the count because we don't want to know how many are in each category. That's not going to be meaningful. But we would like to know how each category stands up in terms of its energy density. So, you know, this doesn't quite look right, but we can fix it. So I picked that one. Now I want to make this not a sum, but an average. So I'll go down to the values, sum of density, and then I can change it to an average. This is somewhat advanced Excel. This is a pivot chart, but it's pretty cool. I don't know if you do this in your Excel class, but now you know how, at least from this video. So this is showing short, medium, long. So from this graph, you can actually see that the short chains tend to have the lowest energy density on average, the mediums have a higher, and the long chains have the highest. So we can also look at this with the numbers as well. So I'll go back into that. Now we're going to try to make this graph. So let's go back to our practice sheet right here. Now we're going to copy, hold Control, and get our average. So this kind of graph is called a scatter plot or an XY plot. So we'll go to Insert, Recommended Chart. I didn't like any of them, so we'll do this one the long way. So we have this guy right here. Doesn't look quite right, so I'm going to flip it around until it looks right. So I had to pause real quick and figure out what went wrong. So basically I was in the wrong menu. All right, so here we go. We're selecting this, and then we're going to insert a chart. So I would go to this group right here, the scatter chart, and go to more scatter charts, and that's going to show you the options that you want. So these are all the chart options. The XY scatter is right here, and you're going to want to show the relationship between two variables. So you're going to want to have one of them along the y-axis and the x-axis, and the other one along the y-axis. I like this one, not this one. So we're going to pick that one. So this is along the lines of what I'm looking for. You can even add a trend line, show it so it shows you this is an upward direction as carbon chain length increases, energy density also increases. And even if you want to, you can add data labels by going to check data labels, then go to more options and say you want not the value, but you want a value from some other column. So I'll select those, and then hey, it gave me the names. So I can look at this chart and say the most energy dense fuel is diesel, and it also happens to have the most number of carbons. So you could say, yes, there is a relationship between carbon chain length and energy density for biofuels, and that relationship is positive. The longer the chain, the more energy dense. So hopefully that makes sense, and email me if you have any more questions.